Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdi, ji ayanu, khuyumorkha, pakhair raghale, washmali. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Well This Morning with Shiza Hashmi on a very pleasant morning. Well, over here in the Twin Cities, there are chances of raining and thunderstorm today, fingers crossed, because a person like me is absolutely obsessed with rain. And I always say this though, I feel like rain is a mood changer. No matter what I'm going through, if it does start raining or if I even hear the sound of rain from somewhere, it changes my entire day. For all of you ladies and gentlemen who just woke up, well, good luck for your day and try to surround yourself with all sorts of positivity throughout the day because, of course, it's good for your own self, your mental health, as well as your physical health. I actually wanted to start today's show on a different note, though. I was reading something from Wtm Emergency, and you know how absolutely wisdomous he is, and actually whatever he says, a lot of people can relate to it. It's not only for Muslims, it's for everyone around the globe who can actually read his tweets and everything. It does make sense. So I was reading one of his paragraphs about, disagreements and agreements. It's okay to, disagree on things, even among friends, even among our family members, right? Even with our parents, we do have disagreements because you are entitled to have your own opinion, and it's totally okay to do that. It's a free country, it's a free world. Everyone can have their own opinions. But rarely people have the patience to deal with other people's opinions. I mean, of course, you have a certain thing in your mind, and if anyone can oppose that thing with their own opinion, we are so impatient, we are so intolerant, we just, start fighting with them. And these are just live instances I'm going to give right now. This was yesterday, one of very famous writers of Pakistan, an asset, I want to say, to the media industry as well, Khalilur Rahman Saab. He was on a live TV in discussion about something to do with feminism. I'm not really sure because I did not watch the entire show, but in that particular clip, a woman identifying herself as a feminist. Anyway, so she was in disagreement with Khalilur Rahman Saab, and without having the patience to actually listen to her opinion, he just lashed out on TV, started abusing, started saying rude things that I don't even want to recall. I do not have the audacity to recall those things on TV. Imagine him saying that without a doubt. So I'm just saying all of these things, just a quick reminder for all of you early in the morning that you are allowed to have opinions, just also have the patience and tolerance to deal with other people's opinions. Because the type of behavior that Khalilur Rahman Saab showed on TV yesterday, I think he just showed the grooming that he's got. He showed the women that he's coming from, the one that, he brought him up, and the one who bred with him, a lot of things that he had been showing about his character as well. So for everyone, ladies and gentlemen, I just feel like do have the patience to do that. I really hope you take my words, throughout the day as well, because this is what I want for Pakistanis to be patient, to be tolerant. Other than that, speaking of Pakistanis doing amazing things, ladies and gentlemen, so someone from Pakistan actually a few years back went to the UK, and there he decided that he's going to do something for the community, for the society, not only living in the UK, not only living in Pakistan, but in the entire world. When you think of something like that, there are so many ideas that come to your mind. Okay, what might be the thing that I might start? And just to add to this conversation, Pakistanis happen to be one of the most philanthropic nations in the world, and we have facts about that. I mean, we are always there to help whoever is in need. So this very person actually took up this responsibility of preparing a team, a multi-agency, with a multi-agency approach. He wanted to train people and then use those people to train other organizations and, even other people from across borders to be ready for any sort of disaster to hit them. So this person is basically looking after disaster management and risk reduction. How he's doing that, we are going to be in conversation with him to find that out. His organization is called the International Emergency Team, United Kingdom, and he is here with some of his team members as well. So without further ado, I think I will be introducing them so that we can find out what this entire project is about. On my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined by someone who happens to be the ex-Assistant Chief Officer as well. He is none other than Terrell Opry. Hello, welcome to my show.
Good morning.
Welcome to Pakistan.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Next to Terrell, we have someone who happens to be an Assistant Professor. Now imagine, it's very interesting for me being a student to learn that someone is a professor at a university in the United Kingdom teaching disaster management and risk reduction. I did study, in terms of media disaster management, how to report in terms of conflict and risk. But to actually study practically how to do that by yourself, I think it's very interesting. This is none other than a disaster management expert as well, Richard Cotter. Hello, welcome to my show.
Thank you.
Next to Richard, we have the man, the brain behind this entire project as well, the one I was already talking about, our pride. He's none other than Mehriban Siddique, the CEO of this organization. Hello, assalamu alaikum, welcome to my show.
Well, thank you.
So I feel like Mehriban Saab, I should be starting my conversation with you. Do let me know how this idea came to you, first of all.
Basically,
because I'm so sorry, I'm cutting you, but this is a non-profit, a volunteer organization. So now this is making a lot of sense, and I want to know how this came to you.
Basically, my background in UK is an emergency service, and we come together in 2011 and decided in UK as the Asian Fire Service. I was a CEO for that.
Okay.
How can we help in Asian countries? So we come together and decided to form a platform where we voluntarily, without anything, that all the skills and expertise we got, how can we exchange? So basically, we formed a charity organization called International Emergency Team.
Yes.
This is only for people with the blue light services in UK, which is a fire service, ambulance, police, councils and universities work together as well. So we started and we thought, right, let's start the first project. Because my background being a Pakistani, it's easier for me to integrate in Pakistan and speaking the language as well. So we decided to do our first trip in 2012.
Okay.
And we met DG Dr. Rizwan Saab, and we had a really good collaborating, understanding, thinking where can we go in the future.
All right.
So basically we brought some skills, expertise, shared with the Rescue 1122. And this is what happens in the UK Emergency Service. Please feel free to cherry pick what ideas you like from us.
Oh, wow.
And then we implement it in here. So that's how we
amazing.
started.
I actually do want to, talk about that a little deeper, though. I will get to that. But just, when you say International Emergency Team, is this how it started, though? It always was international? That is what you always thought, that I have to go transnational?
Basically, our dream was wherever in the world people are suffering in the neighboring Asian countries as well, considering there was loads of natural disasters.
Oh, yes.
So let's open it up. So we share some ideas with Turkey as well, Middle East. So it's not that we physically do the trips, but we can verbally, through the emails, exchange ideas. So that's why it's called International Emergency Team UK.
It's actually very amazing. Good luck for all your future endeavors as well. But now I'm going to come to you, Terrell. How did you become a part of this? Now, you were already in this industry, if it's the right word.
Yes.
How did you become a part of this very project?
I work for the emergency services in the UK. I, like Mehriban, was involved with the Asian Fire Service Association, and that's why I got involved in this organisation. So my expertise is in operational rescue.
Oh, perfect.
So we came over, I personally came over 3 years ago and started to work at the academy to, at the time, improve standards of performance.
All right.
And it quite surprised me how advanced and how hungry for knowledge they were at 1122.
Okay.
So much so that 3 years later, I say to them, well, actually, you've caught up exceptionally well. And that's demonstrated by they've just achieved a United Nations recognition for search and rescue from 1122.
Yeah.
So I think that shows how eager they are to learn, how quick we can learn, and long may this partnership exist.
Yeah, I hope so too. But here's the thing, Terrell, this does also speak about how passionate you are about this. While you are, yes, mentioning, how capable 1122 is and its recognition, whatever the story that you told, it does show that even after you were done with your job in your earlier years, you were a part of this, yes. But then you felt like you need to share your knowledge. You need to impart your expertise onto other people so that a lot of people can be saved from any sort of disaster that's coming up to you. How come this is so close to your heart?
I think anyone who joins a service anywhere in the world that the primary aim is to help people.
Absolutely.
Continues as a family. So whether you work in universities, in academia, whether you work in the nursing profession or medical profession, I don't think you can ever leave that behind.
That's true.
And I think it's an international family. So it's very easy in some respects to come to our other members of the family in Asia and actually carry on the work together. It's not it's not that difficult to carry on after you've finished your career.
Absolutely, that's amazing. It's actually great to have people like him in the team as well. Now, moving on to the expert over here, Mr. Richard. You being a professor, yes, of course, you have been, teaching all of the disaster management and risk reduction to a lot of people. But how particularly did you become a part of this? Did you feel like there is a certain need in the third world countries, or the developing countries, I want to say, not third world, for you to actually go out to the public and teach the basics of this?
Well, the first step was I have a lot of international students from Pakistan, from South Asia, from other parts of the world, but especially also for the UK students. That was the first bridge I had to cross, because they had a need to also see the professionals, how they're actually working in their workplaces, and to bring them into the university. That's kind of how it started for me, inviting these colleagues in, and then building links from the university. I have done over the years volunteering myself in humanitarian affairs and so on. But for me, it was at the core to start with education and future leaders, whether it be the National Youth Assembly here in Pakistan or other bodies around the world. And actually, students, master students, PhD students, young scholars, they learn from each other as well. If they come together from different cultures, different backgrounds, different countries, they can learn, I believe, as much as from professors than from themselves, and then go up together. So that's so just to mirror what Daryl said about a family of people who want to understand the practice in context, with theory, with concept, and marry that together. And that should be international, because many of these challenges are international wide around the world.
Absolutely.
And it's, and it should be collaborative.
Absolutely.
And where we go, flooding, whatever, there's similarities, but there's many shared challenges, similarities, and techniques and tools which you should be applying and working through.
I do agree with that, and I think it's a very right approach that you mentioned. Being a student as well, I feel like it does get monotonous or even boring at a time coming from your professor, right? It seems a little theoretical, it seems a little scripted. Okay, these are the things that you have to learn by your heart. This is what you have to do in terms of emergency. But having a platform to have open-ended discussions with people who have been through and then dealt with these discussions, that actually does leave an amazing imprint on your mind as well. So I do agree with you. Now back to you, Mehban Saab, where you mentioned, you always wanted to help the developing countries. So we do understand Pakistan happens to be one of them. Do let us know all of the areas that you have identified in Pakistan and other countries in Asia as well.
Basically, when we started the old headquarters, Rescue 1122 in Firozpur Road, that's when we first initially visited it. And we just went through some of the, practical skills and initial guidance and codes and acts.
All right.
So there were a few things that we could share with them, and then we went on to their drill expertise and the first visit that we had. And as the time progressed, it was amazing to see, as Daryl mentioned, how keen and how dedication from Rescue 1122 was. Yes, please give us more. We need this. And this is the clear message that they want to take on from us, especially when we come from UK, and emergency services in UK have all the new guidance, new procedures, new policies.
Right.
So what we'll do is when we come here, we share with them. And as time went on, and I noticed that the things, and what Daryl mentioned last 3 years when Daryl came in, and he says, Mehban, I cannot believe how amazing they have achieved and where they are in last 6 years. And we don't come here to pick any faults with them.
Right.
Our main job is that wherever in the world we can save a life, and that serves our purposes.
Yeah,
so that's the fascinating. And talking about the neighboring country, we do support in Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, in some parts of India as well. And also sharing ideas. Sometimes we get emails from the Middle East. We are stuck with some kind of scenario. How would you be able to help us? So if we got in our team somebody who is expert in a certain field, he or she will be guided to guide them through. So it's sometimes physical help on the ground, sometimes it's online or even through the emails.
That's amazing. Actually, people can reach out to you for help as well. So here's the thing, Mehban Sahab, I think you're going to agree with me, because when we look at the culture over here, a lot of people, a lot of youngsters might be willing in the UK or elsewhere to be a part of the fire team as well, to be a part of rescue operations. In Pakistan, yes, of course, while there are a lot of philanthropists, there must also be a lot of volunteers when it comes, when the bad time comes. But for people to, in the good times even, for the people to say that, oh, I want to be a part of 1122, or I want to be a fire extinguisher, or, a part of the fire team too. That rarely happens. I don't have any friends, or I haven't been in conversation with any youngster who said so. So do you think it's a little different over here, and do you think the approach might be changing with time?
I think it should change, because this is the service. I'll give you an example. I had barriers even in the UK when I first initially trying to join the fire service, and my parents said, "What are you doing? Our recipe is in the law, or our recipe is in doctors.
Yeah, be a doctor, be an engineer.
This is what brings the family." And when my family members and we came in AJK, and my family member said, what happens in UK when we dial 99? We get ambulance service, and we've been here nearly 4 weeks, and we haven't seen a number that you can dial, and God forbid if there's an accident, how the fire service is going to get us out. These are the things that start alarming me and thinking, well, hang on, there needs to be a service here. I mean, Rescue 1122 has got a long way to go yet.
Of course.
But as such a young organization, and what they have achieved in last 14, 15 years, it's been amazing. And what we want to do is, we want to be the backbone for them to move them along in a wider area, in the rural area. And also at the same time, it's a wonderful that rescue is your local fire ambulance services. I would encourage young generation to get in touch with them, go to their fire station, see what they do, learn about the service, and that would take you into their family. Believe me or not, right, it's a wonderful family. Doesn't matter which part of the world you live in, it's the family, you want to be in it. And you feel proud.
And I think that's actually a very good idea for schools and universities to take up educational trips as well, because I don't think we do have that culture too. But Mehban Sahab, I do want to have conversation with you, but because I have to, after a little break, we will be replacing Richard and Terrell over here, so I must be in conversation with them. So Terrell, you being in this industry for so long, I have some questions because I have seen this happening. So just out of fun, there are people, and no one should actually be doing this. This is not an idea. I'm just discussing this because this has happened. So just out of fun, people do, misdial rescue places like 1122 or even 911 abroad. Just for fun, because they're sitting together, prank calls, whatnot. Is that actually something, is that bothersome for you? Because of course you don't know if that's true or not, and how do you deal with that?
It is, and it's something that happens all over the world. And again, we use academics to analyse the reasons why people do things like that. But certainly one of the things that we want to bring over are media campaigns directly targeted at young people and those people who do misuse the service. And we tend to show them the outcomes of, if you divert something somewhere else, it's not available for the real emergency. So sometimes hard-hitting media campaigns work, even with young people. So we hope to bring that over to Pakistan as well.
Yeah, and also, they are, for people who do such calls, prank calls and whatnot, they are actually wasting time and resources of your organizations as well. So how do you tell apart if this is a true call or not?
Sometimes it's very difficult, and again in the UK we suffer from the same thing, so we will send a lot of resources somewhere only to find that they're not needed. So it is a common problem, as we've said many times. This is a family, and some of the issues are international family issues. And if we can work together, then actually the solution might be found in Pakistan, and they can give it to the UK.
Actually, that's very smart. But so this was probably last week or even last month, I was reading a small story from the US where a mother of 3, so her youngest was a few months old, and because she was a single mom and she had to look after the 3 children all at one time, she could not go out to buy milk for her infant. So what she did was called 911, and luckily the people were great over there. They just came and, you know, bought her milk, which was amazing. So I want to ask, of course, this is one of the instances where if you do have available resources and if you do have available time, you can help people in actual need. But Richard, where do we draw the line in terms of, you know, countries like Pakistan, developing countries where the population is just extensive and anything can happen at any time? Where do you draw the line that, okay, this is where we will come in and this is where we won't?
Well, just going back, I mean, we were in the headquarters in the control room of the academy, and they do work through the statistics, how many what they call refused call-outs to have, and there is actually not that many. It's a low number, so one has to put these problems in perspective. And the principle is they will attend because you can't be sure it's not a real call. So it's a humanitarian service, but in terms of addressing people's needs, actually goes beyond the fire and rescue and ambulance. It's actually increasingly going into disaster risk reduction, fundamental safety education, community safety. So the more you actually enriches Rescue 11's pedigree, the more you become a trusted organization. You may be actually perhaps potentially more trusted than other state institutions.
Right,
so you have a responsibility to help build that bridge, to not lose that trust and do something useful with it. The Rescue 112 has a big program of training, encouraging, supporting community volunteers in community safety and rescue. So that's big and expanding. Also, they're part of greening Pakistan, making Pakistan safer and greener and more environmentally friendly. And that is actually why Rescue 112, as well as the International Emergency Team UK, getting into partnership with some of the universities, the University of Engineering Technology in Lahore.
Oh, amazing.
We had meetings with the Lahore Lahore College for Women University. So actually bringing the different sectors together.
That was actually going to be my last question to you. Now, being in Pakistan, do you feel like there's a certain need to have, not particularly, you know, there are disaster management and risk reduction courses, but if you're doing the degree, but for this to be common and for this to be general knowledge, do you think it's important for universities to hold drills and everything?
I think there's many disciplines now coming together. That's true in the UK. I'm from Germany. Before I moved to the UK. So you have environmental planning, you have city and regional planning, you have certain applied health, you've got medical professions, which people train and study for. And then you have disaster management also, or you might call it crisis management or risk management or resilience building or community capacity building. You know, all of these are needed, or traffic accident prevention, or different applied aspects of vehicle engineering for safety. So all of these different disciplines and specialisms at different levels are needed, and that's the workforce of the future, who will be in district offices, in municipalities, in the rescue operations and so on. You need them working together. You started your segment by multi-agency. It's actually also multidiscipline.
Yeah, absolutely true though. I should have mentioned that too, but thank you so much for being here, gentlemen, because right now I will request you to please be replaced with some of your members as well. This was Mr. Terrell Opry and Mr. Richard Cotter, both experts in imparting their knowledge and their expertise to Pakistanis over here. Ladies and gentlemen, while I do replace these with even more amazing people, I want you guys to watch out a trailer of San Andreas. It's a movie related to what we're talking about right now. Take a look at it, and when you come back, we will further our discussion. Let's do it. For you, ladies and gentlemen, for all of those who just joined in, we are talking about you know, risk reduction and disaster management, especially in Pakistan, because while we do enjoy a beautiful landscape throughout the country, we are also prone to some kind of natural disasters like flooding and even earthquakes at some point, thunderstorms, whatnot. So we were in conversation with, you know, people from the International Emergency Team UK, and right now I have 2 more people from the team. This is Iris Weber, who happens to be a civic educator as well. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Yes. Welcome to Pakistan. Welcome to my show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. And next to Miss Iris, we have someone who happens to be a family support officer over there. He is none other than Mr. Iqbal Said. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my show.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, how have you been finding Pakistan, and how are people over here receiving the type of knowledge and expertise you're sharing with them?
Oh, so far it has been extraordinary. People are so kind, open and friendly, and it has been amazing. I have met so many brave and very, competent women in particular, but of course everybody, in particular at Rescue 11222, has been so helpful, so absolutely gorgeous so far.
Oh wow, is this your first time though in Pakistan?
It's my first time in Pakistan.
What were you expecting and how did you find it?
It was blurred in a way, because you hear so many different stories.
True.
And so I was just, I wanted just to keep an open mind and, let's just, see what's coming.
All right, I hope it's been good so far.
Yes, absolutely.
So do let me know, when you say a civic educator, what does that mean? And what are the, your key operations?
So in this team here, they brought me in, or I put myself forward, because we thought they need a kind of critical, from inside the team, somebody who takes a critical look at their work, in particular when it comes to inclusion. And inclusion does not only mean, but one of my main focus is the role of women of course, in the field of emergency services and disaster management.
So how is the gender ratio over here in the disaster reduction teams?
So the ratio, so far, I mean, here right now, I'm the only woman.
Okay.
So that there
no, I mean over here in Pakistan, the ones that you're training.
So yes, so at Rescue 112, there are a lot, there are I think now over 100 women in service. And they also have female fire instructors.
Oh wow.
So they have a lot of very competent, very brave women I've met in this last couple of days.
Oh wow, that's amazing, and I'm so proud of that. Okay, so Family Support Officer Iqbal Saab, what does that mean? And how did you become a part of this organization?
You see, basically I was Education Welfare Officer.
Okay.
Then recently I moved to this position.
Yeah.
I work with Newcastle City Council.
Oh.
And we work closely with Tyne and Wear Fire Service.
Okay.
Because it is twin, you can call it twin bodies.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, that's great.
And since you see, we also create awareness amongst our families, in schools, in colleges, then we always ask Mr. Meherban that if he could come and give talks to our students, to the community, and he is always generous. And whenever we call him, he comes. And from there, you see, we develop, you see, some sort of understanding, harmony. And when he introduced me that this is what he's doing, in particular in Pakistan, I was really, you see, amazed. I thought that I should also
become a part of it.
Part of it.
Okay, and so now becoming a part of this international emergency team, after that, is this the first time you came to Pakistan as a part of this team, yeah?
Yes, this is
and
my first time.
And how has it been different? What kind of, expertise and training have you been given?
You see, me, Richards, and Irish, we are more towards academics.
All right.
And as Richard mentioned, that we want to develop, you see, some sort of understanding between various universities, so that we can set up, you see, some sort of, you see, understanding with them. Yesterday we signed MOU with UAIT University.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. UAT, yes.
Yes. And
that's amazing.
Also we are thinking, you see, if we can do something with the Women University in Lahore.
All right.
Yes.
That's great. And
we
thank you so
are
much
also
for being
moving
a part
to
of this.
Peshawar, you see, and we will see if we can do something over there as well.
That's great, actually. It's actually great to have you on the show as well. But now back to you, Meherban Saab. I'm sorry to keep you on hold for so long, but I have so many questions for you, and I feel like we're short on time. But here's the thing, being, I want to say, the face of the state TV, I still feel like I do have a responsibility to be fair to what we're doing. So without any, filters, I'm going to ask you, now you've been in conversation and been in training with 1122 as well, and all the state organizations related to risk reduction. Let me know about the quality, the standard that they're operating on, the resources that they have, and what's the future that you see in them?
Well, to be honest with you, some of the resources they have, it's to be honest, what environmental they are using, and because UK standards, UK equipment is different, it suits for their climate.
Right.
So for 1122 to have that kind of facility, it'll be no good, because certain appliances are good in the UK but they're no good in here.
Yeah, of course.
So their equipment, I think it's brilliant, and they may need a little tweaking here and there, but we have got some equipment that we bring that can be used in very, it's easier to maintain, easier to use, simple to get the firefighter going through that procedure.
Right.
Also, a Rescue 1122, we share some, even our clothing, uniform.
Oh, wow.
Some of the, protective PP, what we call. So we share with them as well. How do they feel? And think about future,
Right.
making that kind of uniform that will protect you. Even some of the drill activities, hose runnings, and even the pressure guns and things like that. So we share some of that idea as well. Where in Pakistan, what I've noticed is when a fire engine comes, they want you to throw loads of water.
Yeah.
And
we expect that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was very surprised when I first came here. And where in UK, we got a hydrant system where we can just tap in and get a water anywhere in the ground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where here, you don't have that facility.
You have to take the tankers with you.
Yeah, and you got to take the tankers. So it's a high pressure, low pressure, volume pumps on in your appliance.
Right.
So throwing small amount of water, is the fire has the triangle. So you got fuel, heat, oxygen. So you got to just decide to take one thing out.
Right,
so when you
right,
take that out, doesn't matter how much water you throw. You're just basically reducing and slowly just taking the fire away. Where I found here, when people see fire, they want to throw loads of water.
Right.
Should be water all over. No, it's not that the case. We don't do that in UK. We make sure that it's it's manageable.
Well, it's actually great for me to see, I'm saying from a layman's perspective, these differences, these are so minor but yet so important, and people like us, they don't know. Now that is why we need experts like you. But again, now here's the thing, when we're talking about traffic accidents in Pakistan, especially in the Twin Cities too, there are thousands on a daily basis. Unfortunately, there's probably lack of civil sense, or probably lack of traffic sense, I have no idea, or just bad luck. But here's the thing, how can we make sure as laymen, who to call, who is the right organization to call at what time, and who will take the timely action, for ambulances or for any kind of help? Because when such things happen, if it's a hit and pass, and people would call the police and they'll be like, oh, call the ambulance first, and the ambulance will be like, ye police ka mamla hai, unko call kare. Things, blame game starts, and so how do we know what is the right place to call and what to expect from them?
Well, basically in the UK, the policy is if it's a road traffic accident, first of all, the police will arrive, they cone everything.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll remove.
But that has to be swift.
Yeah, they're very quick. I mean, ambulance and the police and the fire service and ambulance in UK respond more or less same time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, fire is always the first one, and when they do come, they work as a multi-agency partnership, sharing ideas, what we should do, how should we cone. And what I've noticed in Pakistan, it's amazing that when there's a road traffic accident, people just gather together.
Make videos, imagine that.
And where in UK it doesn't happen that. We move away from it, where your people go into it. So that job becomes a very difficult for the rescues, for the police. So, it has to be education, through the media, through the rescues, through the police. It just needs education, that's all it is. And I think, to be honest with you, your people, your community, the media should work together through the school system, through the universities, and guide people. When there's an accident, stay away.
Exactly. And it's so important. It's actually kind of funny as well, but ironically funny, because this does happen. I'm telling you, it's not just for traffic accidents. Even if people get into a fight, people will just gather around and without thinking to just probably stop the two parties, they will have their mobile phones out and everyone will be looking for rating. It's just so unfortunate to see. But I think you're right about awareness campaigns, and I think it was Mr. Terrell over here who also mentioned that we do need to have campaigns on a media level as well. So Ms. Iris, being a civic educator, and in terms of Pakistan, now that you do understand some dynamics of the country too, how should we go on about awareness campaigns? On TV probably, on boards on the roads and everything? How should we go about it?
I mean, there are many ways. I mean, Merban already mentioned some, but I think what I would like to underline is really community. The community is so important.
Okay.
And for example, Rescue 112, they've started working on a community volunteer program to get more and more people involved, including, again, women, but of course everybody who wants to be an active part in the society, and really teach them on the ground about all these issues. And there's so many issues. It's about fire safety, it's about road safety, but it's also about childcare. It can be about, of course, disaster preparedness and response, in particular areas which are most affected by these disasters. To really, I would start at the ground. I mean, the media is very important,
of course.
but I think really if you have to teach people and you have to do it in a comfortable way, and it's not just, a short clip won't solve the problem. You have to get people involved, listen to them, to their concerns, and get them involved in as much as you can, for example, also in city planning, all these issues. It's, for example, road safety, it's about city planning, it's about urban planning. There's so many issues you have to take into account.
Absolutely.
And I would do, do the groundwork with as many educators you can, and also that people educate themselves. So as peer-to-peer, that would be one of my main suggestions. And as I said, at Rescue 112, they're already working on that, and that's what we want to do. We want to support them as much as we can with academic, with research, with best practice, with building partnerships. So that's one of our main visions.
All right, that's great. That does make sense. And when we're talking about awareness campaigns on media, so when we talk about state media especially, there's a very massive responsibility, Iqbal Saab. And when we talk about that, the news that you have to give out in terms of conflict or a disaster, it has to be apt. There is no room for fake news or wrong information. So I will just give a small example of Japan. The state broadcaster actually owns 15 DSNG helicopters just for disaster news or any sort of unfortunate event to happen. I'm not paralleling or comparing, but I don't think we have those kind of facilities. But when you talk about the state broadcaster, now talk in terms of Pakistan, what do we need to do to be prepared for any such thing to happen? Because we need to impart the right kind of information to everyone watching.
You said it needs to be precise.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be creating any sensations. What is happening, on our media? They are not that careful when they are presenting these disasters on the screen, and they are, bringing things on live, which is not fair. In England, it doesn't happen. If something happens, they just give, a news, that's all. Whereas in our country, what is happening, we start from the morning till evening. Which
just
is
making noise about something that's not even worth it.
We are not doing any practical things, but we are only creating sensation.
Absolutely.
Which is devastating even for the services, even for, those people who really want to help. This is where we need to create awareness amongst the public, and that should start from the grassroots.
Agreed.
We should start in our schools, and I think 1122, they are thinking on this, and this is what we have discussed, and especially their DG, he is very keen if they can establish some sort of understanding with academia and with the practitioners, so that academia, they can develop some research. They will give them, some topics. They will give them some themes that we want to work on this. Then the academics, they can bring back to them what they can do, practical steps. This is how they want to work together.
That's actually
this is how, yes, sorry.
It's not a one-man's job. You're very right, Iqbal. You very rightly said, because you have to identify the stakeholders, engage them, mobilize them. Yes, this is the right approach. But thank you so much for being here. But towards the end, Mehriban Saab, from you, I want you to give out a message to the general public and then the organizations in Pakistan too. What are the things that they should be looking forward to, from the teachings that you guys have been giving, and then also your future endeavors. Do let us know. This is your camera. Please go ahead.
My message to public is basically, first of all, we need to work together with emergency service, Rescue 1122. It's your service, you need to support them and work together. As our team mentioned, we were a bridge between the academia and the rescue, because in UK that's how we work. So we would like to see community, these are your community fire stations, you need to use them, they're your facility. You need to take your kids and show your young generation this is the fire station that they would like to join in the future, because you've got a very young population in Asian countries, and this is what we like to see, because end of the day, I mean, when you are saving somebody's life, that's you're doing a wonderful job. That's what Islam teaches you.
Absolutely.
So I encourage youngsters for futures to get into the rescue, disaster management, work together. Communities need to understand the role of the Rescue 1122, you know, especially when they're going out there for the calls, using the blue light, need to give them away.
Right.
Let them, you know, go, and also making false calls. Sometime that one false call, they may attend that somebody else genuine call that could lose his life as well. So we have to be very careful. This is not a toy where we can play. This is a serious life-saving service.
Absolutely.
And I think you as a Pakistani community should support this service, because this is a future service for humanitarian work, and work together as an International Emergency Team UK and my team. We are willing to help you and your organization.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, Mehban Sadiq Saab, Iris Weber, Iqbal Said. Ladies and gentlemen, we were discussing the tireless efforts of International Emergency Team from the UK, who is here training organizations and institutions, even individuals and public in Pakistan. Well, credit's due where it's due. We have ED Foundation, one of the world's largest ambulance services, and started from scratch, and we know it where it's going, mashallah. It's just amazing to seek inspiration from such a personality, from such an organization. Just towards the end, it's a very unfortunate incident, but I wanted to share it with you guys because I want you all to pray for the person. My professor at my recent university, his wife passed away 3 days ago, and that was because of a gas leak in her bathroom, and she didn't know about it. She just, you know, turned the light on, and I have no idea, but something was going on with the, you know, gas pipes and the electricity wires. There was a blast, and she succumbed to her injuries after 2 days, unfortunately. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Please pray for the family. Now, mentioning this only means that please try to educate yourself. I try to educate your family as well in terms of what they need to do in case of emergency. Do write to us in case you have any queries. Write on a Facebook page with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, World This Morning without a G. Daily Motion on YouTube, World This Morning and PTV World. And the repeat you can catch at 11 p.m. tonight. Till the next time, good morning. Take care.